Welcome back to the Soundation. This is Swaytoven, and I'm going to be showing you how to get better complex melodies if you like using a lot of sounds. And it involves simply side chaining. And you don't have to side chain, that doesn't have to be your first option. The first option can simply be volume control, panning, but then you might realize that you might have two sounds that are clashing within the same frequency range. And a good example of this, why this might happen, is because, well, everyone says the melody and the music is all in mid range and all that stuff. So it might be possible that you might have some clashing. Um, and whereas equalization can work in terms of like masking other frequencies and stuff like that, what sidechaining will do is simply when you have a sound that comes in, right, or maybe they're playing at the same time, but honestly, I would think it's better if a sound just comes in, right, just out of the blue, I suppose, like you're about to hear in a second. What's going to happen is that it's going to turn down this other sound that was already playing um, in that specific frequency. All right. To achieve that, you have the side chain, the sound that just comes in every once in a while, to the sound that's already playing, and then to the sound that's already playing. When you add it to the instrument track, what you do is add either an equalizer, depending what type of equalizer you have, or a compressor, a multi-band compressor, because both of those allow you to see the the frequencies. You know what I'm saying? That are clashing. But this is what I have right here, and what you're gonna notice is something that I like to do to try to get sounds in their own space is use reverb. All right, it's very powerful, especially when you start listening to your stuff on bigger monitors and like speakers and stuff. You're gonna really realize, oh, this reverb actually works, and you're gonna realize, oh, this 808 is way too much. You're gonna realize, okay, you're gonna start seeing what you should change. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you keep playing around with these more technical, um, just things, I suppose, when it comes to the mixing side. And over time, you can learn. But yeah. So I think I just lost my train of thought, but I know I'm talking about side chaining. It was with putting things in the reverb with its own space. So you're gonna notice this right here, which I'm gonna play. It's just one sound that I have right now, and what I have on it is basically a stereo imager to give it that width, and I have this plugin that's gonna give it some movement and deja vu to halftime it, and then I have it routed to a different. And I probably shouldn't have two imagers, to be honest, because there's an imager on the instrument and there's an imager where it's routed. I think that's extra. Now the reason why I have an imager, and I think this is a good technique, is putting a stereo imager before plugins that are supposed to affect stereo. All right, and I realized this when, like this for example, if I were to put, if I didn't have this right here, and like I'm not gonna play anything, but this is just for you guys to know, because it just makes sense. If I have Fruity Delay 3, which I like using, and I'll do the ping pong effect, and you see the stereo and stuff like the stereo spread. The thing is, it's not gonna spread in any stereo if it doesn't have any image to spread to, right? And that's just that specifically. So what happens is that I end up having to make sure there's a stereo imager for that to actually happen. Now you might not need to do that in some cases because it already says that this is CL8 Echosphere stereo, right? So maybe this already applies to stereo image, and that's something that I probably like should know, right? But I'm also, I guess, applying more image. That's probably too much. But maybe you don't have this plugin, right? Maybe you have other plugins, right? In which it would make sense if you wanted to have that width, right? Okay, or the depth, like reverb. If you want to apply an image to it, so it actually gets more of that, if that makes any sense. And that's how you create that space, along with panning. But the thing about that is when it comes to imaging, is that the panning is kind of difficult, I think, in my opinion, unless you change these angles right here, I believe. Because when I add things to a stereo imager, when I add a stereo imager to things and then pan it, it doesn't pan how it does pan if there wasn't a stereo imager. Simply because without the stereo imager, things are in left and right channel. When you put an imager on, it goes to mid side. And that's also important when it comes to side chaining, is because uh, you might have reverb and stuff, and the reverb starts clashing, and Pro Q3 and other, I think there's like TDR Nova. There's like a mid-side compatibility, which allows you to also equalize that type of stuff. And I'm just saying things right now. I'm not even showing you anything because I definitely don't have any mid-side EQ like hooked up or anything. And you know, honestly, I'm saying screw to that because it's just like that's something that I should probably put some time in, and like I did. But it's just like if you probably put time into that right now, just when you're mixing and making beats, you'll get faster and you'll learn to understand it better. Because there's also mid-side compression, and it's just like, all right, bro. Let's leave that to the engineers. You feel me? But to keep it simple, we created some image with one of these sounds that was already playing by setting it to a reverb. Reverb adds side image. All right, basically what I was saying. Not that you really need to know that. Maybe one day you'll remember that. That's what makes your song sound more wide. But yeah. So anyway, I have this routed to that stereo imaged with the imager and the echo sphere. I also have it routed straight to the master, which is a dry signal. So it's not all the way in the background. Let's give it a listen, I suppose. Without the imager and the reverb and stuff. And if I were to like put it on, you're gonna hear some difference. Especially if I didn't even send it to right. That's simply just in the background. Let me make sure my mic is unmuted. I just coughed. I wonder if that worked. Okay, it did. But yeah, like if I sent it straight to the reverb, where it's where it has an image, that's in the background right there. Like just straight up. The wet signal. Send it to the master. Send some more dry in it. It becomes more forward now. All right. Okay. And like this is all kind of was leading up to the fact that I already talked about briefly at the beginning of like, okay, hey, the panning, you know what I'm saying? The volume control, right? Putting it in its own space. And it's just like, okay, I put it in its own space. I put it back there. A little bit of panning. I still don't think you could just use a stereo shaper. I believe it's whatever. I'm not gonna really think about it that much. I turned down the dry signal just to keep it in the background more. Right now, here's the sound that I have sidechain. Here's the sound that I sidechain to it. If that was the right way to say that. Holy crap. Anyway, all that aside, we're gonna have to put like a multi-pan compressor on this. It's have you at one plugin. I promise you. Also, I didn't make music in a while, so no, where is it? Like, what the heck? There it is. And because it's already sidechained, I go to processing, stereo sidechain, Pigments 3, and we're gonna see this sound right here. Alright, that's the sound that like it's gonna come in, while in certain areas this is gonna be playing like right here. We're gonna play it right now. We're gonna look at the frequencies. Man, that's crazy. Also, first of all, there's a lot of bass in this. We could just turn that down without side chaining anything. But as you can see, right, that red is the sound that is coming in, and we do want that to be more audible. But we don't want it to clash, so it's like, and maybe this is too much, you know what I'm saying? But first of all, I don't even think it's like, mean, I had to get an equalizer for that. It doesn't really matter. But when this comes in, we're gonna have to go to expert, go to external, and then we're gonna have to probably just make sure maybe we want a slower release to keep it stay down. Fast attack, I suppose, because these it's kind of a pluck, so it's just like I like high ratios so I can hear the compression. I kind of hear how bad it is if I put it too high up when I turn it all the way up in like a vehicle. Because right here, this is when I have it playing like so. This is where we have to really analyze it right there. Now the thing is, this sound is like a very in the front, and it's like I could do this. Let's see how it sounds like with everything else. That's absolutely fire. I'm not gonna lie. I forgot how it sounded. So the thing about this is like, let's look at these ideas. It's because I want that to like ring out a little bit more, and I was kind of skeptical about putting it in the echo sphere because there should already be some echo. But like, let me hear. There has to be like some crazy thing that happens right here, I believe. Like, but if it happens here, and I have to keep listening out for it, because I try to make every arrangement a little bit differently. So honestly, I mean, how long? Because like people don't have attention spans. It's already been 15 minutes. All right, well, oh well, fuck it. People already clicked off on this shit. Like, we're gonna just keep going with it. But yeah, I gotta think of something right here. I might make it easier if I put a transition, and I might think of something. This transition is like kind of loud though. So you gotta think about something. We gotta think. We gotta be critical. We gotta be fire. You feel me? In my opinion. I also don't even like the sound right here. It's so generic. And that might be the problem. That might be the problem. So I kind of like botched up the arrangement. I'm just tossing out some ideas right here until I like kind of lengthened it out, to be honest. Um, in a way, cause like that kind of went into like a state where like you could probably like just kind of start flowing. If someone's got flow over, I could. I mean, I made it from scratch. I made your mom from scratch. But you know, from here, I'm just gonna like turn it off. I'm gonna start recording and just work on this behind the scenes. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna do anything crazy. I'm gonna just do what you already just saw me do. Might change up the snares patterns, maybe the kick, make more audible with the help of side chaining. Ooh. You know what I'm saying? You saw that the 808 would be loud in the vehicle. Turned it down and clipped it. I just know this 808. I know this 808. I might change the 808. Who knows? I like how it sounds. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna get that from a short distorted 808. But peace out.